Hello everyone, my name is PaperNapkin and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy 1. In the last episode we were forced to go through the Earth Cave yet again, and I don't know about you, but I absolutely love it when I'm forced to go through a dungeon more than once. I mean, you wouldn't get bored the first time, so might as well go a second time, am I right? Yeah, maybe not. Fortunately, there was 2 levels that was kind of unique, new that we hadn't gone to before, so it was a little bit different, so we weren't too bored. And we did manage to encounter the real evil that was at the bottom of the Earth Cave, and that was the Lich, which is the first of 4 fiends which we're going to meet along our journey. And by defeating him, we brought light back to the first orb. So hopefully now the people here will be ecstatic that we've lifted the curse, so let's go and check in and see what they have to say. Hopefully they have something new to say. This person still says that we need to revive the power of the orbs. We're working on it. I mean, we're a quarter of the way there, so we're making progress. This person is still a farmer, so it's good to see that he hasn't changed his profession so soon. And there we go. Proper thanks and kind of acknowledgement that we're actually doing a good job. So, good job, everyone. You should feel proud of what you've done so far. Not many people have gotten this far in this game, but you and me, we've done it together. Well, just like that, we're pretty much done in this town. Unless you still have the steel armor or spells to buy, you really don't need to come back here. Or maybe we do later on. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Dun dun dun! At this point, we don't really have a single place that we have to go to. There's a lot of different options. A lot of people tend to go to certain areas to pick up certain items that make the game a lot easier. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to kind of try to stick to what the game developers sort of had in mind of, story progression, and it'll make a lot more sense to you guys as well, so I'm just going to stick to that. First off, go straight south from the port. You'll hit this landmass, follow the finger and kind of go in this direction, which is east, and eventually you should make your way to some sort of landmass. If I'm not lost, there it is. Just keep going east, hug this landmass for quite a little bit. It's gonna disappear. It should reappear at some point, and when it does, that's when you know to head north. And if you ever get worried, there it is. You can head north prematurely. You'll just have to hug the coastline a little bit once you get up here. And am I at the right spot? Yes, I am. Just keep going up here. You'll eventually reach a little dock, and we can proceed to the next town, which is known as Crescent Lake. And you could actually come here before doing the whole Earth Cave ordeal. It kind of makes the story make a lot more sense. And we have a new enemy. This is the Centipede. They are pretty interesting in that they have a lot of hit points. They can do some okay damage, but they can also poison you pretty often with their normal hit. So keep that in mind. They don't give the greatest of gold. They give okay experience, but I wouldn't recommend grinding on them too much. Especially because of the fact that they can poison you so often. I hate using pure potions. In the later remakes, it's not that big of a deal because you have so many spell or magic points to use pure, or antidote I guess they call it then. And yeah, but I definitely don't recommend in this version to grind here. I thought about coming here before doing the Earth Cave stuff, but it makes more sense to go do the Earth Cave stuff in a sort of way, just because it's the first thing you encounter when you leave the canal, so I don't understand why they wouldn't want you to go there so soon. But this is the Crescent Lake city. It's kind of small. It's got a lot of stuff going on here. It's got an item shop, it's got the inn. It actually has a clinic, so you don't have to worry about traveling all the way back to Corneria or whatever. It has an armor shop, which has a couple of upgrades that we should pick up. Actually, yeah, okay, I'll show them off first. There's silver armor here if you didn't get it for your red mage. There's also a silver shield, which is an upgrade for the fighter. There's also a buckler, which is a shield that can be equipped by your red mage, which is, I think, one of 2 shields that a red mage can use. So definitely pick up one of those. There's a silver helmet and the silver gauntlet as well for the fighter. We did pick up a silver helmet, I believe it was, before, which was pretty useful. If you did come here before, you could load up on all silver equipment and it would have made the Earth Cave a lot easier. But I mean, as you could see, it wasn't absolutely necessary. The steel armor was definitely the driving force for making it as easy as it was. So I'm just going to sell off some of my equipment. Oh, I have a silver shield. Where did I pick that up? I can't even remember now. But I'm going to buy a silver gauntlet for my fighter. And I'm gonna buy a buckler for Alexa. Do I have anything else to sell? Iron shield I could sell. Oh, I didn't actually buy the buckler. Pay attention to what the text actually says and you'll realize what's going on. And I'll equip those really quickly. Voila, very nice, very nice. If we come over here, we will find the weapon shop and the magic shop. So I'm going to start with the weapon shop. Oh, there's a guy up there. Actually, let's talk to this guy. I don't even remember who this is, but he's got a nice purple shirt, some pink hair, and apparently he's sleeping while walking and flailing his arms, which is, I guess he's sleepwalking. And this is a tomb, and that's another tomb, so nothing fancy there. But if you come to the weapon shop, hopefully there's something good here. Drumroll, please. We have silver equipment, which if you don't have at this point, it's definitely worth an upgrade. Black mage, silver knife. There's the silver sword for the fighter, red mage. At this point, if you didn't have them, they're a lot more affordable. Definitely recommend picking them up if you don't have one. Silver hammer, you should already have one for your white mage. There's also the silver axe, which is stronger than the silver sword, but again, it has a lower hit percentage, which is kind of a bad thing, because if you take a look at our fighter, we're at 61, so we're pretty close to getting that other hit in, so I'm probably going to steer clear from the silver axe. If you're a little bit lower level, or even, you know, quite a few levels higher, feel free to use it as long as you can keep that extra hit in. Up next, we have the magic shops. I'll start with the white magic. I think there's some good spells here. Okay, yeah, so this is the level 6 spells, and no, they do not cost 620,000 gold. It's level 6, 20,000 gold. It always confused me when I was younger. But, some interesting spells. Soft would be pretty useful, except it's really expensive, and there's no way you would be using 20,000 gold worth of soft potions, so I'll probably just avoid it. Exit is kind of like the warp spell for the black mage in that it kind of helps you get out of a dungeon quicker, but instead of just kind of warping you up one floor, it'll actually take you all the way out of the dungeon, which is really useful, so I'm probably going to pick that up. Fog 2 raises the absorb of all your team members, which is pretty useful, but I typically don't use it very often. And Invisibility 2, which raises the evade of all your characters. It's pretty useful. I'll probably pick it up just because I won't be using my spell charges for much else, and in boss fights especially, it can be pretty useful. In terms of black magic, because we only have a red mage, we're a little bit limited in what we can have. Lightning 3 is obviously a really good choice, and there's also Rub, which is what Astos was using on us, and it's an instant kill, really low hit percentage. I wouldn't bother with it. Quake is also another instant kill. It targets all enemies, but it's so useless just because so many enemies are resistant to Quake. I definitely do not recommend picking it up. And then Stun paralyzes an enemy, which is kind of useless in this game, so I wouldn't bother with that. I just stick to Lightning 3 if you can afford it. I'm not buying any magic spells just yet, because if you take a look at my spell charges, Alexa doesn't even have a level 5 spell charge yet, and Hope doesn't have a level 6 charge yet. So we'll just kind of come back to those when we have more money. If we come over here, there's a little area here, which is kind of like a secret, and there's a lot of people. A lot of people indeed, and it looks like they're standing in some sort of shape. And it's a circle. These are the sages, and they're pretty useful in explaining a lot of what's going on. They're the 12 sages. They lead here by the stars and prophecy. And apparently the orbs shine with the power of the elements, and the 4 fiends seize those powers, so obviously the earth fiend was the lich, and then there's going to be one for the wind, fire, and water orbs, which we're going to have to kill, obviously. And the world's obviously bound by those 4 elements, and each element's power focuses at an altar, and we have to locate it and crush the fiend, and then the orb will shine. Kind of figured that out already. And the 4 fiends are bent on the world's destruction. 200 years ago, the fiend of wind teamed with that of the water to destroy civilization, which is kind of cool when you think about it. It might be that old civilization that someone was mentioning before, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that. Earth fiend causes the land of ours to rot. We've already kind of dealt with him, so no need to worry there. Fire fiend will burn everything up. Self-explanatory. And as you light the orbs, they will reveal secrets. So it's really good to come back here every now and then. They'll kind of reveal new things along the way. Yeah, especially since now we've defeated the Earth Fiend, you'll see in just a second we'll get something pretty cool. And only us can make the orb shine again. And before it's all burnt, we need to go to Gargoo Volcano and stop the Fiend of Fire, which is pretty much the only indication of where to go to next. Did I talk to this guy? I did. Let's talk to him. He's Lucan. He's kind of the only one that has a name, apparently. He might play an important role later on, maybe not. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But if you talk to this guy now, he'll congratulate us on defeating the Earth Fiend, and he wants us to go take on the Fire Fiend, and in order to reach the volcano, he gives us a canoe. A wooden canoe to go into a volcano, which makes just a lot of sense. So, with that volcano at some undisclosed location, how the heck are we supposed to find it? Well, the canoe is a big hint. If you leave the town, you can see that there's a lot of lake here. If you actually go up and follow the water system, you'll eventually make your way to the volcano. Hopefully I won't get too lost because it kind of snakes along. And of course, as we're in a new kind of terrain, we have new enemies. This is the Hydra, nothing to worry too much about. One really interesting thing about the lakes here, in this version of the game, it's kind of split up into northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, and depending on where you are on the world map, you'll encounter a couple different enemies. In the remakes, I believe, it's all kind of meshed together, so you might actually encounter some enemies that are a lot harder than you're ready to take on. And these are Caribes, which I think is a mistranslation. It's supposed to be piranhas, I'm assuming. Nothing too spectacular here. I think they're weak to lightning, which makes sense since they're water type creatures, but I wouldn't bother wasting spell charges at this point. I just use my normal attacks. And as you can see, they did hardly any damage whatsoever. They look kind of freaky. Like at first, when I was playing this game, I didn't think they were fish. I thought like the fins and stuff was actually like hair. And it was just like some sort of brain stem. I don't even know. But nothing too worthwhile to worry too much about. Crappy experience, crappy gold as well. At this point, we want to go east, I believe, and then up. There's a lot of dead ends, so if you don't like backtracking, maybe look up a map. I think we go left at this point. Yeah, as you can see there's a little kind of trap there. And yep, this is the right way. If we come down here, we'll eventually make it to Gargoo Volcano, which is the location of the Fire Fiend, and this dungeon it's not long per se. There's a lot of open areas that are pretty optional, and there's a lot of treasure. So if you want to pick it up along the way, make sure you have a lot of heal potions. They'll definitely help. Be conservative with your spell charges. But that being said, if you just want to go straight to the boss, it's pretty straight path. It'll be really quick to do. I'm gonna make sure I collect all the treasure just because some of it's actually really useful. When I was younger, I probably just steam through it, not even care. But looking at the item list, there's actually some pretty valuable stuff there that I want to pick up. Also of note, if you don't have anti-fire at this point, you probably should go back and pick it up, just because obviously we're going into a volcano, so there's going to be fire type enemies and they're going to be able to use fire type abilities. So having anti-fire there will be able to kind of lessen the amount of damage that we're taking, especially if you're kind of low level. I'm kind of on the cusp of where I want to be, but I think I should be fine. So in the next episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy 1, as I come into a random encounter with Geist, we're going to go into Gargoo Volcano and we're going to loot some treasure and hopefully we'll make it to the very bottom. But until then, my name is PaperNapkin. Take it easy, folks.